Hey guys, so this is the market update for this week itself, right? And since we're reaching the end of May, there's also an update for June as well, right? So let's review what happened last week, right? So last week I mentioned that there'll be some sort of retracement, right? Because we have reached some sort of overbought. So as you guys can see, May 22nd, May 22nd, right? Right. For those who have traded, right, we have probably made some money over here when they short, right? Because if you guys draw a trend line, uptrend line here, right, it actually broke the uptrend line, right? And those who took it towards the downside, right, will probably make some money, right? But the market was actually pretty strong, and because of the AI hype, right, a lot of the tech companies related to AI like NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, right, pushed the market up and reach an all-time high, right? So for QQQ, it actually reached the level of 348, right? Where it closed on Friday itself, right? So pretty impressive, right? Which later on we'll talk more about. Do I see the market going even higher, right? Will there be some sort of retracement, right? But before that, let's go into the FinViz map real quick, right? You guys can see inside the S&P 500, right? The stocks that have grew a lot this year are actually the tech stocks, right? And mostly related to AI, right? You can see Microsoft, right, 38%, NVIDIA, 166%. So I think NVIDIA last week had earnings, right? Before the earnings, it was like only just 100%, right? And after earnings, you guys, if you recall and remember the charts, right, it shot up 25%, and that's why over here you can see 166. Right, then there was Google, Meta, Amazon, Tesla, right? So it's actually the tech stocks that's actually pushing the overall market up, right? And you can see the rest of the other sectors, right? They're either in negatives or slightly green, right? So it's the tech stocks that's actually pushing up the QQQ, and you guys can actually see it really clearly, right? Inside the ETFs is that the SPY, QQQ, and the Dow Jones are really different, right? Usually it's around in the same direction, right? But over here you can see a vast difference, right? You can see QQ is about 30% now, reaching 31%. SPY is about 9.83, about 10%, and the Dow Jones is negative 0.15, right? So this year is a little bit different, right? And it's a bit harder to trade, I feel myself as well, right? But I think overall, we have to see how the market, right, and we have to react accordingly to what the market is giving us, right? So you guys can see just based on the ETFs alone, we do know that the tech stocks are the one pushing up the market, okay? Right, so that is on the ETF map itself. But let's go into the seasonality chart, right? Since we're going to the month of June, we want to know how it works, right? So for the month of May itself, it didn't work exactly how it's like based on the seasonality chart, right? For this year, it was actually ranging and consolidating over the first 2 to 3 weeks of May, right? And only the last week it started to increase, right? So it didn't really work out the way it is, right? But it was a good benchmark for us to take note, right? And therefore we are able to react based on it. So the month of June itself is it is not the best based on the seasonality chart itself. You can see that it's actually decreasing, right? So for maybe for the first week itself, it will increase, but then later it starts to decrease over the next 2 to 3 weeks to come, right? So that's something to take note in June. But like what I mentioned, this is just a benchmark. It's not something that you want to follow exactly, right? And then you're going to short the entire market, right? I don't think that's the way to go, right? I think we have to see, right? As that when the market gives you the opportunity, you go ahead and apply it accordingly, right? So that is basically on the seasonality chart. So let's move on to QQQ itself, right? Because I believe that's something that you guys will want to know, especially now it has reached all-time high, right? From last week itself, which is crazy because last week was all-time high and then this week was all-time high for this year, right? Especially. So let's go into the charts real quick. So I'm gonna go into my 1-day chart. And I'm just gonna draw my Fibonacci real quick. Okay. Right. So let me just do this. Okay. So you can see that over here is the top, right, was 408 and happened in November 2021. Okay, right, and the down, the low is somewhere around the 254. So I'm gonna draw using my Fibonacci retracement real quick. So from the top all the way to the bottom, right there. Okay, so what you can see here is that based on the Fibonacci retracement, we're at some sort of resistance level, right? And it's a pretty strong resistance level, right? And I would not, if I'm trading or I'm buying stocks, right? Because of FOMO, right? I would probably not buy somewhere at this area now, right? Because it's hitting some sort of retracement, and you guys know the market never goes up in one straight line, right? It doesn't go in one straight line like that. How does it work, right? It goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? Same for when it's a bearish market, right? It doesn't go down just like that, right? It goes down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, right? So since we're reaching some sort of resistance, right? What I do see over the next coming days or weeks to come is, right, that in my range, right, a few scenarios, right, it could range and then it will actually decrease, it will actually retrace, right, or it could actually just retrace, right, and hit maybe around this level, right, the 331. You never know, right? But I do still see that there's some sort of retracement that will be coming because it's actually a short all-time high, at least for this year itself. Okay, so I'm gonna just them drawings. Okay, so that is just one reason why I feel that it's oversold. Another reason why I feel that it's oversold is because overbought. Sorry, is if I use another my trend-based Fibonacci extension, right? So I'm going to let me see. So I'm gonna draw my lines. So 1, 2. Oops. Well, let's try. So this is a 3 points. So 3 points: 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Right. So over here, you guys can see based on the trend-based Fibonacci extension, right? It has really hit its resistance, right, at 1 over here, which is 338, right? And it shot all the way up, right? And the next level is at the 1.618, right, which is quite far away, right? And you guys can see all these are really support levels or resistance level, right? So the 338, you guys can see if I draw a line here, right, it touches some sort of support or resistance level, right? Whether it hits, it goes down, right? Hits, right? It goes down. Same over here as well. It hits, right? And goes up, right? It's a natural resistance support level, right? And what happened was it actually broke, right? And I do believe that it will actually come back down again, right? To retest, right? I don't think it will go all the way up, right? So I do feel that it's actually overbought. And I feel that there's some sort of retracement that will be coming, right? So that is one reason why I feel that currently now is not the best time to buy, and there will be some sort of retracement. So based on the Fibonacci's, whether if it's the retracement or the trend-based one, right, you guys can see that it's not the best time to go all in right now. Okay. Another reason why I feel that it's overbought is if we have the indicator called and you look at the RSI, right, relative strength index. You can see that a relative strength index, right? So let me just remove this. Right. You can see that it is at this level over here right now. Right, you can see that this level over here. So every time when it passes this level, you can see over here, right? Every time when it passes this level, it will actually go back down. Right, you can see that, right? Same over fine. Same over here as well, right? In November, right? It reached some sort of high level, right? And then it goes all the way down, right? So just based on the RSI, I do feel that there's some sort of retracement that's coming, right? So just take note for this week and next week's the next few weeks to come as well. So just take note. Okay, right. So that is on the RSI. Another one, right, that I feel that the market is currently overbought is the EMA 50. Right, so I'm gonna draw the EMA 50 real quick. Right, so this is the not EMA, the MA 50. Right, so the MA 50 is basically the moving average of the past 50 days. Right, so you guys can see that every time when it goes far away from the MA 50, right, the market will somehow come back to it again. Right, same over here. Right, you can see that when it moves away from the MA 50, right, it will always come back down over here again. Right, same thing over here. Right, when it goes away from the MA 50, the market will always come back down to the MA 50 line itself. So if we use the ruler, you can see that all these are, right, so this is about 6% away from the MA 50 line. This is from here to here is about 10%, right? And then from here to here, right, it's almost 10% as well, right? And what about now? Let's draw a ruler. Right, we're about 8% away, right? So it's still quite far away, right? So that's something to take note, right? So like what I mentioned, I would say that it might not retrace immediately, right? But it's at some sort of resistance level, right? It might push away up and then it might range, right? And then will retrace back, right? That could be a scenario. So that's something to take note, right? And that's why I feel that just based on these three reasons, right? One of it is the Fibonacci, followed by the RSI, and then the MA 50 itself, right? I do feel that the market is not at the time where you want to buy, right? So if you feel FOMO that you left out, you didn't buy the AI hype, right? I do hope that you don't go all in right now, right? Wait for it to retrace and then buy those stocks. All right. And for those who are already in it, right, congratulations. I do just make sure that you take some profit, right? Because the market can retrace back. Okay, right. So that is on the QQQ itself, right? So let's go into the SPY real quick. So for SPY, it's a little bit different, right? SPY is it's unlike the QQQ, right? You guys can see, right? QQQ is 30%, SPY is about 10%, right? And you guys see that it's some sort of in a range. It's still some sort of in a range, right? It didn't make new all-time highs, right? It's some sort of a range, and it's something to take note, right? So I do feel that it can continue to go up still, right? It can continue to go up still, right? Maybe at this level, right? And then it can drop all the way back down, right? Or it could be somewhere here as well, right? And it can range continually, right? So that's something to take note of for the SPY. But you do not want to go all in right now, right? Especially it's currently now is one main sector, which is the tech sector. The AI companies are the one pushing the market. So you want to be very, very careful, right? If those tanks, right, the SPY will also tank as well, right? But I don't see that it will crash all the way down, right? I'm like what I mentioned, I'm kind of neutral, right, and slightly bearish, right? But where do I feel that I would be totally bearish is a bit past this line over here, right? So let me just right. So from the start of this year, right? If I draw a line, right? So if it pass, so when do I feel that I will be fully bearish is if the market passes this trend line over here, right? Because this is a pretty strong support, right? starting from the month or starting of this year, right? This is a pretty strong support, right? If it passes this line, then I'll be more bullish, more bearish than ever. But as of now, I'm a little bit more neutral, right? Because I do see maybe in my range, right? If not, right, it can retrace back, right? Come back, retest, retrace back, and then maybe make all-time high again, right? So that's something to take note of for the SPY. Okay, yeah. So that is my market update. Do leave in the comments below of how I can improve this, right? And I can guide you guys along better. Right, thanks guys.